The man's head was clamped tightly in the jaws of a giant lizard. What made it even more horrifying was that, inside the creature's mouth, he could see another person staring back at him. That person studied him for a moment, then said coldly that he wasn't the one they were looking for. Outside, his companions launched a barrage of magic to help him escape, but the spell struck the lizard's body without leaving so much as a scratch. Before anyone could react, Nikaido rushed in and snapped the man's arm with her bare hands. She followed up with a fierce series of blows, ending with a kick that sent his hat flying off. Kaiman then pulled the man out from the creature's mouth. Kaiman demanded to know what the man inside had said. When he heard the answer, that he wasn't the right target, Kaiman closed his eyes, drew a knife, and decided the man was no longer useful. The target managed to flee, which only enraged Kaiman. He hadn't expected a captured magician to get away. Frustrated, Kaiman slipped his mask back on and went hunting for his next prey. In this world where magic and technology coexisted, mages often used forbidden spells to open rifts that led to hidden caverns. Inside, they would experiment on human bodies in the name of magical research. Kaiman was one of their victims. A mysterious sorcerer had used a powerful spell to transform his skull into that of a reptile, erasing all of his memories in the process. Ever since then, Kaiman and Nikaido had been tracking down mages who trespassed into the caverns, hoping to discover who the man inside his head really was. When they weren't fighting, Kaiman often visited Nikaido's dumpling shop, where he'd eat like a man possessed, 5 fried dumplings in a single bite. To gather more information about mages, Kaiman also worked part-time at a hospital that treated victims of magical experiments. One day, several strange patients arrived. Their limbs had begun to mutate into insect parts. Kaiman barely reacted. He could tell right away that this wasn't the same magic that had turned him into a lizard. Nikaido agreed it didn't seem very dangerous and went home to cook dinner. On her way back, she came across a starving boy lying on the street. Out of kindness, she brought him to her dumpling shop and fed him. She warned him to be careful, there was a mage nearby turning people into insects. The boy frowned and said that kind of magic sounded weak. Nikaido laughed, saying she thought so too. The boy then removed his gloves and calmly announced that he was the mage. He asked Nikaido if she still thought his magic was weak. 2 hours later, Kaiman returned to the shop after work. The moment he opened the door, he saw Nikaido sitting on the floor, bruised and trembling, while a mage used her as a chair. She'd been beaten, and all the dumplings were gone. At first, Kaiman didn't react, but when he saw the empty plates, his anger exploded. He didn't care who the mage was or what he wanted, he walked straight through the swirling magic smoke. Before the mage could even move, Kaiman bit down and swallowed him whole. The mage screamed in terror and tried to flee, twisting the doorknob in desperation. But Kaiman moved faster, slicing off his hand in one swift motion. The mage fell lifeless to the ground. At that same moment, the people in the hospital who had been transformed began to return to their human forms. Meanwhile, in the world of mages, a man named Mike rushed to report to his superior, Carl. He explained that inside the caverns, they had encountered a lizard completely immune to magic, one that had already slaughtered over a dozen members of Carl's family. Carl frowned. From what he heard, it wasn't just a monster, it was likely someone who had been cursed by an even more powerful spell. Since magic didn't work on it, sending mages after it would only mean more deaths. He ordered the portal to the caverns sealed immediately. Then Carl gave Mike a new task. From a list of names, he was to find the mage responsible for reptilian transformations and bring him in. There was only one name that fit, Komori. Mike realized he had seen that man in the caverns before. With the portal now sealed, that meant Komori was still trapped.